So over the past few weeks, I've been getting a lot of questions. Why doesn't Congress just pass a bill to provide stimulus to lower income earners? Because everybody's saying that the lowest income earners are the ones that are being the most negatively impacted due to the rising inflation, the cost of gas, prices of everything, right? Rents, everything is causing more and more issues. But the people that are being heavily impacted are those that are the ones that are making the lowest income. Now, here's what I want to address, because right now the federal government wants us to do certain things. And they tell us by certain laws that they pass and the tax code and things like that. And so here's what I want you to really understand. For the past 2 years, we have heard lawmakers dangle stimulus checks over our heads time and time again. They promised additional $600 checks to those that were unemployed. Then the $600 turned into $300. The $300 eventually turned into zero. We heard President Biden, before he was president, I guess he technically was president, right? He was promising the American people that if we just voted the 2 Senate seats in Georgia to Democrats, then we would see $2,000 stimulus checks. Well, we didn't see $2,000 stimulus checks. We actually saw $1,400 stimulus checks to go along with the $600 checks that were passed under the Trump administration. And just recently, I heard from many lawmakers, all of us heard from many lawmakers, where they promised additional child tax credit payments. But the hard part is, at this time, we don't have the support in the Senate. Some even promised free coverage for dental, vision, and hearing, along with $800 stimulus checks as well. And we even heard from a handful of lawmakers that stated that they would provide additional relief to lower income households. But we just had to get the Build Back Better Act through. But here's the truth. The truth of the matter is that nothing has been agreed to. There's nothing being worked on at this point that is really considered full-blown stimulus, right? Child tax credit payments, a boost to Social Security recipients, not being discussed. Additional stimulus checks, not being talked about, right? And these are the people that could greatly benefit from additional stimulus, an extra $100 in their bank account, $250 per month in additional assistance. It's the lower income earners. And that's the issue right now that I think we're having, is that some, and again, I want to point this out because this is extremely frustrating. But I was reading an article today, as more of a local article, but this article was stating how there were families that are going to have to change jobs, change their school because of the cost of gas. Families. Their children are going to have to switch schools to go to a more local school. The parents are going to have to change jobs to work at a more local store because the cost of gas to drive all the way across the city is just too expensive. That's troubling. Now, I was doing a bunch of research this morning, as I usually do, but for a different project I was working on, and I came across a handful of articles. I came across a bunch of different interviews done by financial experts as well. And every single person, every single financial expert, they said the exact same thing, that waiting for the federal government to provide additional benefits, especially in these times, is a lost cause. But they also agreed that the government has already done something that would benefit every single one of us. And it would benefit us more than a one-time stimulus check. Now, what is that? Now, this is what I really want to discuss. Now, I just want to point this out. I'm not a CPA. I'm not a tax professional. I'm not a financial advisor. Okay? But here's what you need to understand. One of the things the federal government has done is they incentivize people to start businesses. And you're probably thinking, well, I don't really want to start a business. And we all know that working for ourselves means we can dictate our hours. We can control our income. We can pretty much do what we want to do. That's great. But, and this is the thing that I really want to point out, did you know that the federal government will allow you to do different things like deduct your business expenses against your income? And again, I'm not a tax professional, so make sure you go and talk to your CPA about all this stuff. But this is exactly what these financial experts were telling us, is that the people that are hurt the most are those that are working for somebody else making the lowest income, but at the same time, they could make twice as much if they just worked for themselves. They also talked about how their businesses are allowed to write off some of your expenses if you work out of a dedicated space, dedicated office space in your home. And most people don't realize this, that, okay, I'm using, let's say 10% of my home for my business. Well, you can actually write that off. And again, talk to a CPA. These financial experts were also saying how the federal government allows you to write off a vehicle if it's dedicated to work, dedicated to your business. If it's needed to drive around, whatever, you can write it off. And again, I'm not a tax professional, but I believe this year in 2022 is the final year that you can actually write off 100% of your vehicle within the first year. That's a huge, huge bonus. Now, they also say the federal government will do so much for business owners for one main reason. That reason is business owners eventually will hire employees. Employees create a better economy, brings in more tax revenue for the federal government. Well, what do you think the federal government wants? More tax revenue, more money. They need more money, right? We're $30 trillion in debt. Yeah, they need a little bit of money. And again, I'm not a tax professional. I'm not a financial advisor, okay? So this is not tax advice. This isn't financial advice. But what this is your wake-up call. The federal government at this point is only going to take care of us if it's in their best interest, right? Think about it. And again, I was somewhat oblivious to this, but you think about the stimulus checks that we got. Why did we get them? Well, the first one, we got a stimulus check so we can go and buy food. We can go and still stimulate the economy during a 2-week lockdown, which turned into pretty much 2 years, right? That was the purpose behind it. And what about the $600 per week for people that were unemployed, right? They were still getting the state unemployment checks, but then $600 per week on top of that. Well, why did we get this, right? Guess what? To help pay our bills, hopefully entice us to get back to work, which somewhat was a disincentive to actually go back to work, but it is what it is. And right now, providing additional benefits beyond what the federal government has already done, this is being seen as not in their best interest anymore. So that's what a lot of these financial experts are telling us is we have to take control of our own financial situation. They say start a business, ask for a raise, pay off debt, get out of our own way, create a business around something that you love, that you enjoy. But my advice at the same time, make sure there's a market for what you want to offer. Now, and I say this because everyone says, oh, just follow your passion and the money will come. No, that's not always the case. Okay? That's not always the case. Just keep that in mind. You have to make sure there's a market for whatever it is you're trying to offer. For instance, I have a friend that actually sells collectible shoes, right? Sells Jordans now, Yeezys, right? Different. But he started out collecting Jordans and Vans, basketball shoes, and he turned that passion into a business. And he got to where he is today, mainly because he had a side hustle, another business, in addition to his regular income. I have another friend that completely changed his life, flipped it almost upside down. He went from living in a house to living in a trailer, moving from the city to moving out into the country. He went from just thinking about ways to educate people on what he knew. How could I get my information out there? And now he creates YouTube videos just like I do and gives educational videos on homesteading and survival. I even mentioned him here on this channel before. It's called Riverside Homestead Life. And that's something that he decided to do. Right? Just recently, I had a friend contact me about helping him start a business as a writer. And I addressed this months ago where somebody asked for help. I helped them. And right after I made that video here, my friend reached out and I helped him create a business as well. And he started off writing articles on Fiverr. And within weeks, he turned his Fiverr gig into more of a writing firm where he writes, edits, and does this for clients all over the world. And the key isn't about being successful today. That's not the key. The key is to buy back your time. Be in control of your own situation. and do something that you love to do. And the main thing is to make it so that the government isn't controlling everything that you do, telling you, okay, if you vote for us, we will give you a stimulus check. No, that's not the way it should work. And now I know a lot of people are going to watch this video and they're going to think, yeah, that's great, but I'm not going to start a business today. And that's completely fine. Okay, it's not for everybody, but consider this. What would a small side hustle do? What would it even do? What would an additional, say, $200 a month in income do for you? How much would that change your life? Let me know down in the comment section below, because for $250, many people would say, oh, that would buy my food for the month. $250, that would pay for my car payment. Oh, $250, that's a week's worth of rent. $250 may sound like a little bit, but to many, it's a lot of money. And it could be life-changing. An additional $250 every single month, that's pretty good, right? $3,000 per year, again, pretty good. So let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section below. But that's all I wanted to say, is that right now, stimulus for the lower income earners doesn't have to actually be a check. It can be additional income. It could be tax credits. But that's the thing. This is what lawmakers are almost holding up over our head. Because honestly, what the federal government truly wants is for employment to go up. More people to start businesses. More tax revenue. Because especially with the Democratic government, right, we get more tax revenue. Guess what? We get more programs. Social spending programs. We get to spend more money, right? Give more to the American people. But again, it comes back around. Tax revenue is key. So if you have any questions, let me know. Again, I'm not a tax professional, not a financial advisor. So if you have questions that pertain to taxes, go and talk to a CPA. If you have questions regarding more specific financial situation, go and talk to a financial advisor. They would be able to give you better advice, okay, based on your specific situation. So again, thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.